Hello and welcome, my vitamin C's. How you doing today? It's Chris here, and today we're playing this nice little beach map right here. We're playing it on hard, by the way, but with no monkey knowledge. So that means for you guys, we're gonna make it extra specially, well, hopefully easy for you, dude. If you're having any issues with this map, we're going to walk you through it and hopefully have a good time. Now, positioning is actually going to matter right here, guys. The way to do it is you want to pop a dart monkey all the way on the far left here. Pop a dart monkey all the way on the far right. Make sure that this dart monkey, surprisingly, is also on last, the one just above the other one. So we want both these guys to be on last. And if you want to try and be extra specially good at popping the balloons, you can try to move them to first, but realistically, you're going to lose lives. It sucks, but it happens. When you get hard maps like this, you gotta just deal with it. So, what's the topic of today's video? Memories. I'm going to talk about my earliest memories, which are kind of weird. And I just watched this really sick, nasty documentary, literally, about memories. And I kind of want to relay some of that information to you guys, because it's kind of interesting. At least all of it, to me, was sort of interesting. The weirdest thing was how memories are formed. And how, it's weird because now it makes me like question like how good are people at remembering things, because certain people can remember everything and certain people can't remember crap. And for me, I know that the weirdest thing about my memory straight from the get-go is that I don't remember a lot of things that people tell me. Things that are going on in people's lives, things that are going to change that I just feel like it's irrelevant information that I just like don't need. Sometimes I even don't remember people's names because I'm just like, I'm never going to see them again. Like it just goes in one ear and just comes out the other. I'm like, I don't care. So, I don't think I even do it on purpose either. It's just my brain deciding like, Chris, no, you're not going to meet them ever again. You don't care what their name is. And I noticed that I'm very, very, very bad with names. Faces I'll remember, you know, I'll never be like, I don't remember your face. I'll always remember your face, but I won't necessarily bring a name to the face. So I'm a little bit weird, I know it. You know, I think there's probably a lot of weird people out there as well, and maybe you guys are experiencing something similar to me. But even sometimes when I'm talking to my friends and they'll tell me things that I'm actually even sort of remotely interested in, like about their lives, I just won't remember it for next time I see them. You know? I don't know. I don't know what is wrong with me, but it happens. So, right now, let's just talk about our strategy really quick. What we've got going on is we've got our dart monkeys on the left still, getting powered up by Gwendolyn. We've also got our submarine going over here, though. We're going to do a no farm strategy for our hard walkthrough. It just means we have to be more efficient with the money that we spend. And some of the most efficient things we can do is by upgrading our submarine just a little bit. Alright, we want to get him up to advanced intel and air restarts. And after that, I mean, if you spend any extra money on that, sure, you can do more damage, you can pop more balloons, but by the time you get to level 80, it might not be as efficient as you want it to be. So, because I'm doing a post-commentary, which I should have mentioned probably earlier, I am doing a post-commentary, just in case you guys are curious. It is not sped up, though. I felt like not speeding it up. Let's make it normal speed for you guys. So, yeah, the sub, I don't know, he's okay in the early part of the game, up to probably around like 50 or so, but after that, he's just not very good. For the amount of money that you're spending on him, he just ends up being sort of bad. So we're going to pop a couple extra Buccaneers in here, and I have a feeling, if I remember correctly, I'm probably going to alchemize these guys pretty soon. I really like alchemizing the destroyers. And I don't even know if alchemizing is a word, but I like to say it. I like alchemizing things, dude. I kind of feel like Gargamel in the Smurfs, you know? I feel like I've got a little science kid over here trying to figure out, where are the Smurfs? How do I find the Smurfs? I don't even remember what was the point of Gargamel trying to kill all the Smurfs. Was it just to prove that they existed? I think that might have been like one of the only reasons he captures them. Or, I don't know, there's two little baby thoughts going through my head right now. Either we have, so there's a little bit of lag right there, at least I saw it. The Gargamel really wanted to prove that the Smurfs existed, or he wanted to like boil them in a pot and turn them into some sort of life potion or something. I don't know. It just sounds right to me, doesn't it? Sounds right to you? Hopefully. But anyways, memories. So let's talk about first of all my first memories. I don't really remember all that much from being young. My first probably fake memory, which it's actually kind of interesting because I found out through this show, by the way, that a lot of people, whatever they think their first memory is probably a fake memory. It's something like 40%, 40 to 60% of people's quote-unquote first memory either never happened or was like almost completely different than what they thought was happening during their first memory. And we'll get to that hopefully in a minute here, talking about all that interesting stuff. But my first memory that I fairly clearly remember was in second... Was it in second grade? I think it was in first grade. Actually, no. I remember there was this kid named Chris Powell. Alright? There was this kid. He had the same first name as me. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that he had the same first name as me. I don't know why. But... I didn't like him. You know, I just was not a fan of that guy. I don't remember why. I remember he was kind of chubby. That's all I really remember. I remember waiting in kindergarten. I remember waiting outside for my parents to pick me up at the end of the day, which was kind of interesting. And I also remember the gym that I used to go to because it was a religious kindergarten that I went to, or I think it was Catholic. I don't really know, to be honest. But I remember the gym, and I remember sitting in, like, these folding chairs. So those are, I guess, some of my, like, first memories that I clearly remember. And I shouldn't even say clearly. Like, it's like, just a haze of, like, this is sort of something that happened. The one, like, actual experience that I remember. It was quite interesting, actually. And my teacher was teaching us a lesson. And I liked this as a lesson. It stuck with me for a really long time. Basically, we were looking at some, I think they were signs, and I think they didn't have the letters on them. And again, I'm pretty sure this was in first, maybe second grade. I think it was first grade though. No, I take that back. Let me think about this. I think it was in second grade, and we had to, like, say what kind of sign it was. And if I remember correctly, I think it was just, like, a stop sign or something. Like, very, very simple. And somebody answered, you know, what kind of sign it was. And the teacher was like, okay, let's go around the room and ask people what kind of sign they think this is. So they go to the next person. And they're like, what kind of sign do you think this is? And they said, okay, I don't know. This is such a bad example because I don't remember what the other answer. I don't actually remember exactly what it was. But let's just say a stop sign and a yield sign, okay? Let's just make it simple. And another kid was like, okay, yeah, that's a stop sign. And then the third person was like, yeah, that's a stop sign. And then another person was like, no, that's a yield sign. And then they kept going along and along and along, and like 85% of the people were saying stop sign, stop sign, stop sign, stop sign. But you had, like, every once in a while you'd have somebody say a yield sign. And then when they got to me, I went with what most other people were saying. I didn't go with what I thought the answer was. I went with what everybody else was saying, because I was like, everybody can't be wrong, can they? And they all were. The 15% of people that actually spoke their mind were definitely correct. And I don't think it's that everybody thought that it was the wrong thing. I think that the first person and the second person just got it wrong. And then after that, it kept everybody doing the exact same thing. So, for some odd reason, this just stuck with me for a really long time. That if everybody thinks the same thing, it doesn't mean it's necessarily right. And that led to a lot of my thought processes and a lot of my philosophical thinking, I suppose, even as a little youngin' over there. But those are some of my first memories. A lot of my memories come from school. At least my first memories come from some sort of school thing going on. I remember I got yelled at in 3rd grade for picking my nose. That was really embarrassing. The teacher was very mean about it, though. She stopped class, like in the middle of class. I think I was picking my nose in, like, the back of the room. right? I wasn't like going crazy and doing ridiculous things. No, I was just I had a booger and or an itch. I don't even remember. All I really remember is that I was digging, man. The teacher just stops and says, "Chris, what the heck are you doing?" I don't remember what she said. It was like, "What are you doing? Like, don't you ever do that in my room again." That was, again, a little bit of a hazy memory. It's one of my first memories ever, so I don't remember exactly what she said. But I remember she was really angry at me and said something like, "Don't ever do that in my room again." And then everybody around me was just like, you know, "What did you do? Like, what did you do wrong?" And I told them, "I don't know. I didn't do anything," you know? And I'm you know, if she like called me out in the middle of the class that like I was picking my nose, it would be even more embarrassing. But yes, just overall, it was an embarrassing thing, and I can't believe a teacher did that in like 3rd grade too, like calling you out like the middle of class for picking your nose. Like, it's such a normal thing to do. It's actually kind of funny because, if you don't pick your nose, you're a weirdo. Believe it or not, it's the truth. If you don't pick your nose, you're weird. It is more common for people to pick their nose, and not just pick their nose like every once in a while, like quite a bit. You've got an itch, if you've got a booger, and you got to get rid of it, you itch, you get it out, you know? Not everybody has a Kleenex at hand all the frickin' time. So those were some of my first memories. I'm sorry, guys. My throat's bothering me, man. Gotta make out these videos, dude. So, I was watching this memory video today. It was a Nova video. I don't even remember what it was, but it was on Netflix if you guys want to watch. If you got Netflix, man. Oh, 5% battery, dude. Can we finish it in time? This is going to be close. Oh, it's like a race against time. 17 rounds with 5% battery. This is going to be a fun one. And I found it really interesting. So look at that. We actually almost lost lives here on round 63, even with a Spectre on the screen. Oh, probably getting alchemized over here. Just insane if you think about it. And one of the interesting things about memories was that they were saying that every time you bring a memory back out of memory existence, basically, the way they said it in the video was that we kind of think of memory as a library, where everything is written down in a book. And what we do is our brain just goes and searches in that book, and they see if they can find the memory. And, you know, what they're finding out, though, is that that's not really the case, because you don't just put the book back when you're done. If you bring out a memory into your, into existence, what you have to do is you have to put the memory back into your brain again. So every time you talk about your memory, if you say something wrong or change something about your story or whatever, you're re-remembering your memory different. So it's kind of crazy to think about it like that. At least in my opinion, that every single time you're bringing out a memory, every time you talk about it or think about your memory, you have to put it back in your brain. It doesn't just revert back, it just exists. And they were showing this through a bunch of different experiments, but how they can basically delete memories, or especially, even crazier, delete fears in people. And I thought that was absolutely insane. If you guys have ever seen the Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, it's a very interesting movie with Jim Carrey. And basically he could delete memories of entire people in that movie. And that's how he got the spotless mind. Like, he had a really, really rough time with his girl. He really, really loved her, but I think, if I remember correctly, again, memories, dude. If I remember correctly, she kind of broke his heart or something like that, or he broke her heart or whatever, and he decided to just delete her off of his memory. And then, of course, he's going to be a happier person because he just deleted her off the memory. Everybody's happy at that point. But it wasn't really the case. And I forget exactly how it went down, but I think he tried to remember her, and blah, blah, blah. Or the memory didn't get 100% deleted or whatever. And he was glad that the memory didn't get deleted because they ended up being together and being happy or something. I think that's what happened. I don't really remember how the story ended. But I hope that it was a happy ending, though it could have been extremely upsetting and sad. But you know, when you look at that movie, you're like, oh, no, that's not possible. But that was actually based on research that was happening sort of a reasonable amount of time ago, where people can basically delete memories. But more likely, it's something about, like, deleting fears. So what they did was they had a spider. And they took some people who had an arachnophobia, who just hated frickin' spiders. Alright, absolutely, like, disgusted. Like, sure, not very many people like spiders. But they put this guy next to a tarantula, and he was just frozen, like, in fear. And what they did was they were like, pet the spider. Do it. Pet the spider. You know you want it. He's like, no. And she's like, okay, how about this? Touch the cage that the spider is in. That's all you got to do. So he touched the cage, and of course he got extremely fearful. But then right after he touched the spider, she gave him a drug, which makes it so he can't, make new memories, basically. And so the next time he came around, they were like, okay, touch the spider. And he's like kind of afraid of the spider, but he's like, okay, I guess I could touch the spider. And he goes over and he touches the spider. He like pets it really quick. And then he does it like one more time, and he realizes that, like, okay, he's really not that afraid of spiders. So they deleted a fear based on just like one drug. I think it was just one time, just one experience. And basically he didn't re-put that fear back into his brain this time. And it wasn't just like a thing where somebody's experiencing their fear and they're getting over it kind of thing. This was completely different. For example, if you had somebody who is extremely afraid of spiders, legit arachnophobia, and they touch the spider, next time they'd still have the arachnophobia and they'd still not want to touch the spider. This guy actually, like, got over his fear from this one stupid, really weird experience. So I actually really liked that show. I highly recommend it to you guys. It was honestly, it was kind of weird because it only was like recommended at like 40% to me on Netflix, but I'm like, you know what, why not? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Netflix usually sucks anyways with the ratings, and of course they did. They sucked really bad because I really enjoyed that. But it also shows that your memory is a really goofy thing and that we do not understand memories at all. I thought it was, honestly, if I had to explain memories, I don't think I could do it. It's difficult. So here we go, we're getting to the end over here. We beat this thing on hard. We did it pretty easily, I'd say. No big issues happening. Round 63 was a little bit difficult for us, but other than that, we kind of just chugged right through. I really kind of overdid it with the alchemists. My alchemists are a little crazy, but getting a sun god, getting a ninja, getting a couple destroyers, and a specter is like pure essence of destruction right here. They got nothing on us. Though I have to say that I'm actually mostly impressed by the sun god. Everybody seems to have a decent amount of pop power and everything, but really getting that sun god here to pop all the balloons inside is really the key here. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed, press the like button for me, subscribe if you haven't, and absolutely, of course, have a super duper delicious day. 1% battery, baby. Perfection.